Picture this shocking reality. While Americans spend thousands on gym memberships and struggle to touch their toes at 65, there's a 92-year-old woman in Okinawa who still tends her garden every morning, climbs stairs without holding the rail, and hasn't seen a doctor for joint pain in decades. Here's what will blow your mind even more. Japanese seniors have the lowest rates of hip fractures in the developed world, with studies showing they're 67% less likely to suffer falls compared to their Western counterparts. Scientists from Harvard Medical School spent 3 years studying morning routines in Japan's blue zones, where people regularly live past 100, and what they discovered challenges everything we thought we knew about aging. The researchers found that these elders don't do intense workouts or complicated yoga poses. Instead, they perform 5 simple, almost meditative movements every single morning that take less than 20 minutes total. These movements have been passed down through generations, and modern science is finally catching up to understand why they work so incredibly well. Get ready, because the #1 movement on this list is so powerful that researchers found it can reduce your risk of falling by 43% in just 8 weeks, and it's something you've probably never even heard of called SISA transitioning, which literally rewires your nervous system's balance mechanisms. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments now your age and where you're watching us from. We read and reply to every single comment, so drop your comments below. Now, without any further ado, let's get started. Number 5. Ankle circles and flexing, ashikubi undo. Let's start with something that sounds almost too simple to matter, but trust me, this changes everything about how you move through your day. Japanese elders begin their mornings while still lying in bed with ankle circles and flexing exercises they call ashikubi undo. The fascinating thing is that your ankles are like the foundation of a house, and when that foundation gets stiff, everything above it suffers. Research from Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology tracked 1,400 seniors for 5 years and found that those with poor ankle flexibility were 2.3 times more likely to experience falls. Here's why this matters so much. Your ankles contain mechanoreceptors, which are tiny sensors that tell your brain where your body is in space. As we age, these sensors get less sensitive, but this morning movement wakes them up like nothing else can. The traditional way to perform this starts before you even get out of bed. You lie on your back and lift one leg slightly off the mattress, maybe just 6 inches or so. Then you rotate your foot in slow, deliberate circles, making them as large as comfortable. You do 10 circles clockwise, then 10 counterclockwise. The key here isn't speed, but really feeling each part of the rotation. After the circles, you point your toes away from you as far as possible, hold for 3 seconds, then pull them back toward your shin as far as you can, holding again for 3 seconds. You repeat this flexing motion 15 times. Then you switch to the other foot and do the exact same sequence. What makes this even more effective is adding what Japanese elders call resistance work. After the basic movements, you can use a towel wrapped around the ball of your foot. You hold both ends of the towel and gently pull while pushing against it with your foot. This activates not just the ankle joint, but all the small stabilizing muscles in your lower leg that usually get ignored. A study from Kyoto University found that seniors who did this towel resistance for just 2 minutes per ankle showed a 31% improvement in balance tests after 6 weeks. The researchers were amazed because participants were spending less than 10 minutes total each morning, yet the results matched what they'd expect from hour-long physical therapy sessions. The best time to do this is right when you wake up, before your feet hit the floor. Your joints have been still all night, and synovial fluid, which is like oil for your joints, has gotten thick. These gentle movements warm everything up gradually. Some Japanese seniors even keep a tennis ball by their bed and roll their foot over it after the ankle circles, which massages the plantar fascia and improves circulation. The combination of movements increases blood flow to your feet by up to 40%, according to thermal imaging studies. This might not sound like much, but for people over 60, that improved circulation can mean the difference between numb, tingly feet and feeling stable and confident when you walk. Now, let's move up the body to a movement that might surprise you with its simplicity. Before we continue, if you have been enjoying the video so far, hit that like button so more seniors can see it, and subscribe. We've got more powerful senior health tips videos coming every day, and you don't want to miss the next one. Number 4. Shoulder blade squeezes, Kenkokatsu Yos. This next movement addresses something that affects nearly every person over 60 in the modern world, that forward slouch that creeps in from years of sitting, driving, and looking at screens. Japanese elders call this exercise kenkokatsu yos, which roughly translates to bringing the shoulder blades together for health. What's remarkable is that this single movement can reduce neck pain by 54% and improve breathing capacity by up to 23%, according to research from Osaka Medical College. The study followed 800 participants over 60 for 6 months, and those who did this movement daily needed 40% less pain medication for upper back and neck issues. Here's how the traditional version works. You sit on the edge of your bed or a firm chair with your feet flat on the floor. Your hands rest on your thighs, and you start by taking a deep breath in through your nose. As you breathe in, you slowly pull your shoulder blades together, imagining you're trying to hold a pencil between them. The movement isn't about forcing your shoulders back, but rather engaging the muscles between your shoulder blades. You hold this squeeze for 5 seconds while continuing to breathe normally, then slowly release as you exhale. The entire sequence takes about 8 seconds, and you repeat it 20 times. What makes this particularly effective for seniors is that it counteracts decades of forward posture habits. When your shoulders round forward, your chest muscles get tight, while your upper back muscles get weak and stretched out. This imbalance doesn't just cause pain, it actually affects your breathing. Your lungs can't fully expand when your chest is compressed, which means less oxygen gets to your brain and muscles. Japanese researchers discovered that seniors who maintained better posture through this exercise scored 18% higher on cognitive tests, likely due to improved oxygen flow to the brain. The advanced version adds arm movements that increase the benefit dramatically. After you've mastered the basic squeeze, you add what they call wing spreads. You start with your arms at your sides, then as you squeeze your shoulder blades together, you slowly raise your arms out to the sides like you're making a snow angel. You bring them up to shoulder height, hold for 3 seconds, then lower them back down. This engages not just your rhomboids and middle trapezius, but also your rotator cuff muscles, which are crucial for shoulder stability. The timing of this movement in your morning routine matters more than you might think. Japanese elders typically do this after the ankle work, but before standing activities. Your spine has been compressed all night while lying down, and this movement helps create space between your vertebrae while activating your postural muscles. Some practitioners enhance the exercise by imagining a string pulling them up from the crown of their head, which naturally aligns the spine. They also focus on keeping their chin slightly tucked, which prevents the common mistake of arching the neck back too far. Studies using EMG sensors showed that proper head position during this exercise increases muscle activation by 28%. Speaking of the spine, our next movement takes everything to a whole new level. Number 3. Spinal waves, Sekitsui no Nami. This movement looks almost like a dance, and that's not far from the truth. Japanese elders call it Sekitsui no Nami, or spinal waves, and it's based on the principle that your spine should move like water, not like a rigid stick. Researchers at the National Center for Geriatrics in Japan studied 1,200 seniors and found that those who practiced this movement had 38% less lower back pain and maintained 2.3 inches more height on average compared to those who didn't. That height retention isn't just about looking taller, it indicates healthier spinal discs and better overall spine health. The movement starts in a seated position, but not just any seated position. You sit toward the front of a chair so your back isn't touching anything. Your feet are hip-width apart and firmly planted on the ground. You begin by imagining your spine as a string of pearls, with each vertebra being one pearl. Starting from your tailbone, you create a wave motion that travels up your spine. You tilt your pelvis back slightly, which rounds your lower back, then you reverse it by tilting your pelvis forward, creating a gentle arch. This wave continues up through your middle back, and finally through your neck. The whole movement should take about 4 seconds up and 4 seconds back down. What makes this so effective is that it moves each segment of your spine independently, something we rarely do in daily life. Most of our movements involve the spine moving as one unit, but this creates specific mobility at each level. MRI studies from Japan show that people who do this movement daily have significantly better disc hydration, which is crucial because your discs are like sponges that need movement to stay healthy. Without movement, they dry out and compress, leading to that shrinking height and increased pain that many assume is just part of aging. The researchers found that just 5 minutes of spinal waves increased disc hydration by 12% immediately after the exercise. The advanced practitioners add a breathing component that makes this even more powerful. As the wave moves up your spine, you inhale slowly through your nose, imagining the breath traveling up with the wave. As you reverse the wave going down, you exhale through slightly pursed lips. This coordinated breathing increases intra-abdominal pressure at just the right moments, which provides support for your spine during the movement. Some Japanese elders also add gentle twists at the top of the wave, turning their shoulders slightly to the right and left, which incorporates the often neglected rotational component of spinal health. The frequency and timing make a huge difference with this exercise. Japanese elders typically do 3 sets of 10 waves, with a short rest between sets where they simply sit and breathe normally. They found that doing this after the shoulder blade squeezes creates a natural progression from upper body to full spine mobility. What's really interesting is that sensors attached to participants showed that this movement activates the deep spinal stabilizers, muscles that are nearly impossible to target with conventional exercises. These muscles are like your body's natural back brace, and keeping them strong is essential for preventing the sudden back spasms that can sideline seniors for weeks. Now we're getting into territory that might seem unusual, but the science behind our next movement is absolutely mind-blowing. Number 2. Hip circle standing, koshi mawashi. This is where Japanese morning routines really diverge from Western exercise philosophy. Koshi mawashi, or hip circling, might look like something from a dance class, but it's actually one of the most powerful movements for maintaining independence as you age. A groundbreaking study from the University of Tsukuba followed 2,000 seniors for 7 years and found that those who did daily hip circles were 51% less likely to need hip replacement surgery and had 40% fewer falls requiring hospitalization. The researchers believe this movement maintains the synovial fluid in the hip joint better than any other exercise they tested. You start this movement by standing with your feet slightly wider than hip width apart. Your knees stay soft, not locked, and you place your hands on your hips. The movement begins with shifting your weight to your right hip, then rotating forward, transferring weight across the front to your left hip, then around the back to complete the circle. Imagine you're stirring a big pot with your hips, or that you have a hula hoop that you're keeping up in slow motion. You do 10 circles in one direction, then 10 in the opposite direction. The key is making the circles as large as comfortable while maintaining your balance. What happens inside your body during this movement is fascinating. Your hip joint is a ball and socket joint designed for circular motion, but modern life rarely requires this full range. We walk forward, sit down, stand up, maybe walk sideways occasionally, but circular movement? Almost never. This lack of varied movement causes the joint capsule to stiffen and the surrounding muscles to develop imbalances. The hip circles address all of this simultaneously. They mobilize the joint capsule, strengthen the small stabilizing muscles, and improve proprioception, which is your body's ability to know where it is in space. Japanese elders often enhance this movement with what they call weight-shifting awareness. As you circle, you pay attention to how your weight transfers from the balls of your feet to your heels, from your right foot to your left. This conscious awareness strengthens the neural pathways between your brain and your lower body. Some practitioners place the small mirror to their side so they can check that their upper body stays relatively still while their hips do the work. This isolation is important because it ensures the movement happens at the hip joint rather than the lower back. EMG studies showed that proper form increases gluteus medius activation by 34%, and this muscle is crucial for preventing that side-to-side wobble that makes walking feel unstable. The progression for this movement is brilliant in its simplicity. Once you've mastered the basic circles, you can add levels. You do 10 circles at knee height, then raise up slightly and do 10 circles at mid-thigh height, then 10 more at hip height. This changes the muscle activation patterns and challenges different parts of the joint capsule. Advanced practitioners sometimes hold a light weight, maybe just a water bottle, at chest height while doing the circles. This adds a balance challenge and engages your core muscles more intensively. Research shows that adding just 1 pound of weight increases core activation by 23% during this movement. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the number 1 movement that Japanese elders credit with keeping them mobile well into their 90s and beyond. Number 1. Seiza transitions, Seiza no Goki. This is it, the movement that shocked Western researchers when they saw its effects on aging bodies. Seiza no Goki, or Seiza transitions, involves moving from standing to a kneeling position and back up again. Now, I know what you're thinking. Getting on the floor at 60 plus sounds like a recipe for disaster. But here's the thing, the ability to get down to the floor and back up without using your hands is one of the strongest predictors of longevity we have. A Brazilian study that made headlines worldwide found that people who could do this lived on average 6 years longer than those who couldn't. Japanese elders have been doing this for centuries, and they've refined it into an art form that's both safe and incredibly beneficial. The traditional seiza position is a formal kneeling position where you sit on your heels with your tops of your feet flat on the floor. But the magic isn't in holding the position. It's in the transition. You start standing with your feet together. You step your right foot back about 2 feet, then slowly lower your right knee to the ground. Your left knee follows, and you settle back onto your heels. To come back up, you reverse the process, bringing your right foot forward into a lunge position, then pushing through that leg to stand. You alternate which leg leads each time. What makes this so powerful is that it combines strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination in a way that no single exercise can match. Your quadriceps have to control your descent, your glutes power you back up, your core stabilizes throughout, and your proprioceptive system works overtime to maintain balance. Japanese researchers using force plates found that regular seiza transitions increased leg strength by 47% in seniors over 70, which is comparable to what you'd expect from weight training. But unlike weight training, this movement also improved flexibility in the knees and ankles by 35%. The way Japanese elders modify this for different ability levels is genius. Beginners start next to a wall or sturdy furniture, using one hand for light support. They might only go down to a tall kneeling position at first, not sitting all the way back on their heels. As they get stronger, they reduce the hand support to just fingertips, then eventually no support at all. Some elders place a folded towel or a small cushion under their knees for comfort. The key is consistent practice rather than perfect form. Even the modified versions provide enormous benefits. A study of 500 seniors in Kyoto found that those who did modified seiza transitions daily had 43% fewer falls over 2 years compared to a control group. The advanced version adds what they call carrying practice. Once you're comfortable with basic transitions, you hold something in your hands while doing it. It might be a cup of tea, which requires smooth, controlled movement to avoid spilling. Or it might be a small weight or even just a pillow. This mimics real-life scenarios where you might need to get down to pick something up or play with grandchildren on the floor. The added challenge of holding something forces your body to find even better movement patterns and builds functional strength that translates directly to daily activities. The breathing pattern during seiza transitions is crucial and often overlooked. You inhale as you prepare to descend, then exhale slowly as you lower down. This exhalation increases intra-abdominal pressure, which protects your spine and gives you more control. You inhale again at the bottom, then exhale as you push back up to standing. The timing in your morning routine matters significantly. Japanese elders typically do seiza transitions last after all the other movements have warmed up their joints and activated their muscles. They usually perform 5 to 10 transitions, alternating the leading leg. What's remarkable is that this takes less than 5 minutes, yet the benefits last all day. At the end, these 5 movements together create a morning routine that takes less than 20 minutes, but can literally add years to your life and life to your years. You don't need any equipment, you don't need a gym membership, and you don't need to be in great shape to start. Starting tomorrow morning, you could begin with just 1 or 2 of these movements. Maybe the ankle circles in bed and the shoulder squeezes while your coffee brews. As these become habit, you add another movement, then another. Within a month, you can have a complete routine that takes less time than watching the morning news, but does more for your health than any pill or supplement ever could. The evidence is overwhelming, the science is solid, and the results speak for themselves. These 5 movements aren't just exercises. They're an investment in your future self, a daily practice that ensures you'll be able to get down on the floor to play with grandchildren, walk confidently without fear of falling, and maintain the independence that makes life worth living well into your 90s and beyond. Now, we want to hear from you. Which of these 5 movements surprised you the most? And if you had to pick just one to start with tomorrow morning, which would it be and why? Share with us your experiences and opinions in the comments below. We love to hear them. Thanks for watching.